Welcome everyone to celebrate Frederick's 41st anniversary celebration of Frederick's 4th of July, and happy 250th birthday to America. My name is Caressa Peterson, and I am the event chair of Celebrate Frederick's 4th Committee. We are so excited to present a full day of fun activities for the whole family. For the kids, we have face painting, henna tattoos, cornhole tournament hosted by Key 103 and 106.9 The Eagle, interactive activities hosted by Scouting America, pickleball hosted by the city's Parks and Recreation Department, and amusements in the Carillon area starting at 12:30 p.m. Don't miss the do-it-yourself peanut butter and jelly tent from 2 to 4 p.m. and strolling entertainment provided by Theatrics from 2 to 5 p.m. For the adults, we invite you to enjoy 3 beer and wine and spirits gardens here by the Tally Recreation Center, over by the Carillon, and at the Country Stage on the opposite side of the park. Both the Carillon and Country Gardens are family-friendly, so those under 21 are welcome when accompanied by a parent or guardian. For the hungry, we have 35 delicious food options from a wide variety of fantastic vendors along 2nd Street, Fleming Avenue, and by the Carillon. For those who love great music, we have an all-day party here on the bandshell stage with Oasis Island Sounds playing reggae music at 2, the Tom Starr Band playing a dynamic blend of groove and rock at 4:15 p.m., and Honest Lee Soul performing funk and soul jams at 6:30 p.m. tonight. At 5:45 p.m., look up to the skies and for a patriotic flyover presented by the Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association. At the Carillon Garden, enjoy acoustic sets from 12 to 8 p.m. while sipping a refreshing alcoholic beverage. Over at the Country Stage, WFRE kicks it off with Chris Darlington at 1:15. The music continues with Hannah Ponce at 3 p.m., the Brown Brothers at 5 p.m., and wrapping it up with their headliner, Kelsey Hart, at 7 p.m. For the patriotic among us, get ready for a spectacular fireworks display at dusk, launched from Parkway Elementary. Immediately preceding the fireworks, our National Anthem contest winner, Daniel Prue, will perform the Star-Spangled Banner, and Frederick native and American Idol finalist, Ray Boyd, will perform a rendition of America the Beautiful. We hope you enjoy all the fun and excitement today brings. My phone. That's right. Events like Frederick's 4th would not be possible without the support of our corporate community. We would like to recognize the businesses who, by supporting Celebrate Frederick, make these community events possible. 99.9 WFRE, 930 WFMD, 106.9 The Eagle, Bay Brothers General Contracting, Be Local Frederick, Eastern's Automotive Group, Frederick Magazine, Key 103, Leaf Filter Gutter Protection, Renewal by Anderson, Tree Trekkers, Woodsboro Bank, Woofies of Frederick, and the City of Frederick. These sponsors contribute significantly to the wonderful quality of life we enjoy here in Frederick. Let's show our appreciation with a warm round of applause. In addition, I'd like to thank our incredible volunteers who graciously give their time and talents to keep Celebrate Frederick's many annual events going strong year after year. Along with Frederick's 4th, Celebrate Frederick hosts the annual garden tour in May, In the streets in September, the Kris Kringle procession, along with several holiday-themed events in December, the Bootleggers Ball in February, and the Summer Concert Series and Summerfest Family Theater happening now through August. We invite you to join us for one of several of our free summertime events happening every Sunday evening and Thursday morning. To learn more, please check out our events calendar at celebratefrederick.com. While these events may appear effortless, there is a tremendous amount of work happening behind the scenes by Celebrate Frederick's dedicated staff and volunteers. Our organization strives to provide special events that celebrate, engage, and enrich all people in the city of Frederick. I hope that after enjoying today's events, you feel as inspired by our community and by this organization as I do. And now I would like to turn this ceremony over to the City of Frederick Mayor, Michael O'Connor.
Thank you very much, Caressa. We've known each other for a long time. I think that's the first time I've ever had the opportunity to be introduced by you. Thank you so much. Hello, Frederick, and happy 250th birthday to the United States of America. 250 years, a quarter of a millennium since the signing of the Declaration of Independence. And here we are. What a moment to witness. Those of you who remember our bicentennial in 1976 know how it felt to be swept up in something larger than yourself. Today is that kind of day and more. It belongs to every generation that has ever believed in this country's promise. And what a place to be celebrating. I can think of no better place on earth to mark this anniversary, because Frederick's history is American history. Even before the founding of this nation, in 1765, Frederick took a stand against taxation without representation. We refused to enforce the British Stamp Act, becoming the first to formally rebuke the King and Parliament. It was a decision that eventually led to American independence. Before the Boston Tea Party, there was Frederick. Long before independence was declared, this town helped set the tone for resistance and self-governance, a reminder that defining national moments don't only happen in distant capitals, sometimes they happen right here at home. And Frederick's influence didn't stop with the revolution. It lives in our culture, our innovation, even our fashion. Frederick-born designer Claire McCardle helped shape the American look, creating practical, comfortable, liberating clothing for women. And yes, she gave this country something we celebrate today: dresses with pockets. Her work wasn't just about style, it was about freedom. The freedom to move, the freedom to express yourself, the freedom to live boldly. That spirit is as American as it gets, and it was born right here. And that's exactly what we celebrate today, the American spirit in all its forms, not just the moments etched in history books, but the ideas and the innovations that carried those founding ideals forward. This anniversary is about honoring the liberty and independence that our founders set forth and celebrating the enduring spirit of a people committed to forming a more perfect union. But it's also about being honest, about the struggles and the sacrifices it took to live up to them. Because we gather today knowing that creating that more perfect union was never finished. The words, "all men are created equal," were written by a nation that did not extend equality to everyone. That work has fallen to generation after generation for the last 250 years. In Frederick, we have taken up that work. We are a community determined to make room at the table for everyone. And that is what makes Frederick so special, because we have the dogged determination to stand when it matters. and the generosity to lift up every neighbor while we do it. Our spirit of community is second to none, and it fills me with immense local pride. You can see that spirit all around us. It lives in the Weinberg Center, still lighting up downtown a century after it first opened. It lives in the African American Research, Culture, and Heritage Center, where stories too often left out are preserved and celebrated. It lives in our parks and across this beautiful countryside. And you can see what we are building right now in our youth center, taking shape to give the next generation somewhere to belong. In our new skate park, where our young people can carve out a place of their own. And on the west side of our city in a future community center that will bring people together. So as we look forward to the next 250 years, I ask each of you, what will Frederick become? Our story is not finished. It's not even close to finished. The next great chapter will be written in acts of kindness, in decisions made at school board meetings and city council meetings, in businesses started and gardens planted, and conversations held between neighbors. The story will be written by you. And in that same spirit is why we are here today, to honor the courage that built this country and the generations who have carried it forward. So today, let's celebrate 250 years with gratitude. Let's celebrate the people who came before us and made all of this possible. And let's make a promise to them that we will keep for the generations to follow, that we will keep this great American experiment going, that we will keep writing. Happy 4th of July. Happy 250 years, America. Let the great American experiment continue. At this time, I invite you to stand as the City of Frederick Police Department presents our nation's colors, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Miss Frederick, Alana Four, and the singing of the national anthem by Miss Central Maryland's team, Ariani Odie. Please remain standing until after the Honor Guard retires.
At this time, I will begin the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our
flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you very much. That was really outstanding. I would now like to invite members of the Frederick chapter of the National Society Daughters of the American Revolution to the stage to read excerpts from the Declaration of Independence.
Good afternoon. In Congress, July 4th, 1776, the unanimous Declaration of the 13 United States of America. When in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them. A decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence, indeed, will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes. And accordingly, all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations pursuing invariably the same object evinces a design under them to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Such has been the patient sufferance of these colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former systems of government. The history of the present King of Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having in direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states. We, therefore, the representatives of the United States of America, in General Congress assembled, appealing to the supreme judge of the world for the rectitude of our intentions, do in the name and by the authority of the good people of these colonies, solemnly publish and declare that these united colonies are, and of right ought to be, free and independent states, that they are absolved from all allegiance to the British Crown, and that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is totally dissolved. And that as free and independent states, they have the full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract alliances, establish commerce, and to do all other things and acts which independent states may of right do. And for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor.
Thank you very much. Now it is my pleasure to introduce Will Graham of the African American History, Heritage, and Culture Society to share a few words.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Before we raise our voices, let us pause. Pause to honor those who made this land sacred. The skilled workers from Catoctin, James Carroll, John Biggis, James Bowen, and the Piscataway and Susquehannock and Shawnee peoples whose stewardship predates this nation. Their memory is not silent. It calls Frederick to courage, repair, and action. 250 years into the American experiment, we gather not for ceremony, but for commitment. The mayor has spoken of our progress. I rise to speak to our responsibility. Frederick must help prove that America's promise can still be made real. Locally, visibly, and now. Today in Baker Park, we stand in the presence of a truth. America's promise is unfinished. And Frederick, the city of workers, dreamers, immigrants, and survivors, must lead by turning remembrance into policy, solidarity into protection, and pride into power. We must fight for a Frederick where every child is safe in school, where classrooms and church grounds are places of dignity, and where our public institutions treat safety as a civic duty, not as a privilege. We must fight for a Frederick where LGBTQ people live boldly and joyfully with city leaders, schools, and faith communities, and neighbors defending their dignity in public and private life. We must fight for a Frederick that confronts the violent legacy of lynching and racial terror with truth-telling, public remembrance, and repair, because justice requires more than acknowledgement, it requires action. We must recognize the communities carrying the city forward. The Latinx families, Chinese neighbors, Caribbean communities, African immigrants, Indian residents, and so many others who bring language, labor, culture, enterprise, and brilliance to Frederick every day. Their stories are American stories. Their futures are Frederick's future. This is a movement work, protecting children, defending dignity, repairing history, and expanding belonging. I see a Frederick where schools are sanctuaries, not battlegrounds, and where every family knows who is accountable to keeping them safe. I see a Frederick where LGBTQ youth walk with pride, not caution, because their community chooses protection over silence. I see a Frederick where the memory of racial terror becomes public truth and collective repair, not collective silence. I see a Frederick where immigrant families are embraced as co-authors of our future, with their leadership welcomed in our schools, neighborhoods, businesses, and civic life. A Frederick where all belong. Not someday, but now. So, on this 250th anniversary, let us refuse to simply admire our past. Let us choose to transform our future by organizing, voting, volunteering, showing up at public meetings, protecting our neighbors, and demanding that Frederick's policies matches Frederick policies. The next chapter of this nation is unwritten. Frederick holds the pen. And so, I invite each of you to join ARCH, the African American Resources, Culture, and Heritage Society, in writing the next chapter, a future worthy of every child, every identity, every family, every history, and let's begin before we leave this park. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.
Thank you, Will, for those important words. It's now my pleasure to introduce a fantastic partner in the work that I get to do every day as mayor of the city of Frederick, our Frederick County Executive, Jessica Fitzwater.
Thank you, Mayor O'Connor, and thank you so much, Will, for those incredible remarks on behalf of ARCH and on behalf of so many in our community. Well, welcome everyone. I'm Jessica Fitzwater. I have the honor of serving as your county executive, and thank you so much for being here in the beautiful city of Frederick with us as we celebrate our nation's semi-quincentennial, 250 years since America's founding. I want to again recognize Celebrate Frederick. Their volunteers are everywhere today, and this effort is huge to pull off this event every year. So please give a huge thanks to Celebrate Frederick, all the sponsors, and the City of Frederick for making today possible. Today's milestone gives us a special opportunity to honor our shared and diverse history, reflect on how far we've come, and recommit to looking forward with hope and determination to a future that we can build together. I want to extend sincere appreciation to our Frederick County U.S. Semi-Quincentennial Commission for their dedication, leadership, and countless hours spent planning commemorative events and initiatives all throughout this year, especially the leadership of our co-chairs, Isela Bravo and Sean Butcher, who I know are here. Please give them a round of applause. The commitment of this volunteer commission ensures that our communities can engage meaningfully with this historic anniversary. Please make sure to visit our Frederick Visitor Center if you haven't received one of our commemorative lapel pins, and we'll be walking around with those today as well. You've probably already seen the beautiful logo on the screen behind us, created by the City of Frederick's own Molly Kilty. Yes, it's beautiful. This thoughtful design features bold USA250 lettering in red and blue and a rising sun symbolizing hope, progress, and a future filled with opportunity. Each of the 12 rays represents one of the county's 12 municipalities, all of which play a huge part of what makes Frederick County so special, our rich history and our bright future. At the center stand the iconic spires of the city of Frederick, honoring our historic skyline and the role the city and county have played throughout our country's history. Framed by Frederick County's slogan, Rich History, Bright Future, the logo is a powerful tribute to our storied past and the promise of what could be. I encourage all of you to explore the many diverse activities, programs, and educational opportunities available throughout this year as we celebrate our semi-quincentennial. These events are designed not only to celebrate our past, but to educate one another on the stories told and untold of Frederick County's role in our country's history, to bring neighbors together, to spark conversation, and to strengthen our sense of community and commitment to one another and the promise of this great country. To learn more, stay connected, and discover upcoming events across Frederick County, please visit the Visit Frederick America 250 webpage, where you'll find lots of opportunities throughout the year to learn, participate, and discover more about our shared history. As we mark this significant anniversary, may we all take pride in our heritage, recognize the progress we still need to make, and reaffirm our shared commitment to doing the work to shaping a brighter future together. Happy 4th of July and 250th birthday, America.
Thank you, County Executive, and thank you for having the courage to say semi-quincentennial, I think for the first time from this podium today. Thank you for that. It's now my pleasure to introduce Robin Summerfield, Regional Director, Western Maryland for U.S. Senator Chris Van Hollen.
Well, happy Independence Day, everyone. It's wonderful to be here. It's my honor to be here on behalf of your Senator, United States Senator Chris Van Hollen. Happy Independence Day, and thank you for joining together here in Frederick to celebrate this special day. Thanks to Celebrate Frederick and to all the organizers and volunteers whose hard work made today's celebration possible, and to the Maryland's America 250 Commission for supporting events and activities that are bringing this milestone to life in communities across our state throughout 2026. On this 250th quincentennial anniversary of our nation, semi-quincentennial, right? Semi-quincentennial. Senator Van Hollen has called on us to reflect on the words of Maryland's own Thurgood Marshall. Quote, "This is your democracy. Make it, protect it, pass it on." For 250 years, Americans have answered that call. And at this pivotal moment, I know we will again. Here's to the next 250. Have a happy and safe 4th of July. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd now like to invite Fort Detrick Senior Commander and Commanding General of the Defense Health Agency Research and Development, Medical Research and Development Command, Major General Paula Lodi.
Thank you, Mayor O'Connor, and thank you, City of Frederick. What a wonderful, warm but wonderful day to gather family, friends, neighbors, and community leaders as we celebrate the 250th 250th birthday of our nation. This is the second year that I've had the privilege of giving remarks at this event, and it is the last official event I will do before I relinquish command and duties as the senior commander for Fort Detrick to Brigadier General Connie Jenkins, who's boldly sitting in that seat being hit directly by sunlight right now. So if you get a chance to go and greet her and welcome her, she is no stranger to Fort Detrick, and she will be a tremendous addition to the team and no doubt enjoy very much the relationship that we've come to enjoy over the last 2 years in my tenure. But I cannot think of a better way to close out my time here than by thanking the community that has made Fort Detrick home to so many service members. I am incredibly proud to represent the men and women of Fort Detrick here today and the critical missions that they accomplish in defense of our homeland. That these patriots and their families enjoy the unwavering support of this community is quite simply what we call in the military a force multiplier. I do want to thank all who presented prior to me coming up here. Very hard to follow such poignant and meaningful contributions and words and testimonial. But that is what makes this community so special. My sincere thanks to the entire Celebrate Frederick team for putting together such a wonderful event for us to share and pause and reflect on patriotism. I do remember where I was during our 1976 celebrations. I was 8 years old. My town had selected one child for every state to march in the town's parade, dressed as something that represented the state that they were representing. And I was Vermont, and I was a can of maple syrup. And I fashioned my costume out of wrapping a box in tin foil. And I can't imagine, as I sit here today and it's probably approaching 95 degrees, I cannot imagine wrapping myself in tin foil today. So hopefully the uniform will suffice. You know, the Daughters of the American Revolution gave us a reading of the preamble to the Declaration of Independence, words penned over 250 years ago, and a promise that every generation since has endeavored to fulfill. And tonight, as fireworks light up the clustered spires in the sky, we celebrate not just a moment in 1776, but an idea, as so many before me has said, is still unfolding. It's fitting that the Army marked its own 250th anniversary last year because before the nation could declare independence, we first had to have an Army willing to fight for and win it for ourselves. Another example of the inextricable link between the Fort Detrick base and this community. And Mayor O'Connor, I think we did this last year with our historical vignette, but I think you're in my Facebook algorithm or something. But as Mayor O'Connor said in 1765, the Frederick County judges became the first in the colonies to openly defy Britain's Stamp Act, one of the earliest institutional rejections of British rule. And as a loyal girl from Boston, I do have to thank you all for paving the way, because without your principled stand, we wouldn't have had our own little incident with the tea. But history does, in fact, live all around us. Behind you, Memorial Park honors Frederick's sons and daughters who gave the ultimate sacrifice, a poignant reminder that freedom is never free. And around the corner, the Talley Recreation Center once served as a National Guard armory. And today, the only iron being lifted there is for fitness. But again, the ties between the city and our national defense remain as strong as ever. And as I prepare to pass the mantle of leadership to General Jenkins, I leave knowing that Fort Detrick and Frederick will only grow stronger together. President Reagan once reminded us that freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it to our children in bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and hand it on to them to do the same. Frederick, you have honored that charge from our former president through your service, your partnership, and your patriotism, and it has been the privilege of my career to serve alongside you. Thank you, and happy 4th of July.
Thank you very much. Now I'd like to invite Kendall Abruzzi, Western Maryland Outreach Coordinator for Congresswoman April McLean Delaney's office, to the podium.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor, and good afternoon, and happy 4th of July, Frederick. My name is Kendall Abruzzi, Western Maryland Outreach Coordinator for Congresswoman April McLean Delaney, who covers Maryland's 6th District, including mine and your home of Frederick. It is my honor, on behalf of the Congresswoman, to present a certificate of congressional recognition on her behalf to Frederick's 4th event chairs, Caressa Peterson and Ashley Schweinhart. So this certificate of congressional recognition presented to annual Frederick's 4th Independence Day celebration in recognition and commemoration of uniting the community to honor the fight for independence during the American Revolution. The 250th anniversary of the United States is an incredible moment to celebrate our freedom while just recognizing the sacrifices many have made for our country. Thank you for celebrating the years of rich history, heritage, and culture in Frederick, Maryland. Happy 4th of July, Frederick. Thank you.
Thank you, Kendall. One more member of our platform to introduce, our City Council President, Cesar Diaz.
Thank you, Mayor O'Connor. I will keep my remarks short because I know it's a little warm out there. Like a lot of the speakers have said, 250 years ago, we started on a journey that started as a revolution, that started with specific words and specific concepts of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Those words still ring true today, even though we might look at life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness differently. We still need to hold on to those concepts, and echoing the words that Mr. Graham was saying, understand that this is a journey that is not over, and echoing the words of the Major General who was quoting President Reagan, that we are only one generation away from losing those things that started 250 years ago if we don't keep our eye on the fact that we have to keep moving forward, and this is a journey that's not over. But today's about celebrating, so happy 4th of July and happy 250th anniversary of the Declaration. Thank you.
So thank you all for being here today. As so many have said, democracy is not some ethereal concept that lives in the abstract. It is an intentional choice that we make every day as Americans. When you're out there today, be sure to stay hydrated, and be sure to say thank you to the Celebrate Frederick volunteers, to the police officers, and to the employees of our Department of Public Works who are working today so that all of you can spend your day in the park having fun. I now officially open Celebrate Frederick's 41st year of Frederick's 4th, an Independence Day celebration, and I hope everyone enjoys this wonderful day. Thank you so much. Happy birthday, America.